While everyone's worried about AI taking their jobs, smart people are learning to make AI work for them. A 2023 Goldman Sachs report found that AI can expose up to 300 million full-time jobs to automation. And PwC research expects that up to 30% of jobs could be automated by the mid-2030s. It's clear to see that big changes are coming in the near future. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel more secure knowing I have complete control over AI's reach in my business. Rather than fear this change, I believe the smart move is to get ahead of it by mastering these automation tools myself. In the pursuit of creating an AI automation agency, I'm learning skills that will turn me into an AI generalist, someone who can leverage multiple AI tools to solve business problems. Since I'm starting with workflow automation, I'll be working with one of the best tools on the market right now, Make.com. And if you want to learn alongside me, I'll be documenting my journey every step of the way. Now that you understand my approach, let's dive into this week's lessons, which are units 4 through 6 of the Setting Up My First Scenario course. All right, so here we are back again in the Setting Up My First Scenario course in Make Academy. If you need the website, again, it is academy.make.com. And we are on unit 4 of the Setting Up My First Scenario course. So here we go, we're gonna get right into it. Unit Introduction. Welcome to the 4th unit of the Setting Up My First Scenario course within the Make Foundation. In this unit, you'll learn how to configure a module. Whilst reviewing this content, ensure that you have your Make Foundation use case open. You will be adding more to it in this lesson. If you have not created this yet, you should access the previous units and build out the scenario. We already have the scenario open, it's right here. So just gonna click on it again to open it up. What does configuring a module mean? The best way to describe this is to look at what we have already configured. Open your scenario and click the weather module. Note that the action here is get current weather. In order to configure the weather module, we will have 2 fields to choose from. I want to enter a location by and city. The only configuration we have made here is entering our location into the city field. And we have that here. Are all modules configured the same? No, they are not. Different modules require different levels of configuration. A lot of this will depend on how complex the application you are using is. We will start by configuring a simpler module from the Google Sheets app. For this, you will need a Google account. If you don't have one, sign up here. So I already have my Google account signed in and set up here. So if you don't have a Google Sheets account, you can just go to docs.google.com, make an account, and you'll see that you have a list of different docs. We're on the Sheets doc, right? So it's just open here. I haven't made anything in here, it's just open. Let's configure the Google Sheets module. Adding a Google Sheet for this exercise. Once you have signed up for a Google account, open Google Drive. Navigate to New, Google Sheets, Blank Spreadsheet. Name the new spreadsheet Make Foundation use case. You are doing this now, so the next step will run smoother. That is all you need to do outside of Make. All right, so it wants us to make a new Google Sheet, a blank spreadsheet, and name it Make Foundation use case. So I'm gonna just do that. Blank spreadsheet. I'm gonna name it Make Foundation use case. All right, so we did that, and I think that's it. So we're just naming it now. Click Next. Adding the Google Sheet module. Within your scenario editor in Make, add a new module. Search for Sheets and select Google Sheets from the options returned. You will then be presented with a list of module types. This was briefly viewed in the last unit. Click the Add a Row module located under Actions. Once you have clicked this, you will be greeted with the configuration prompt. So this is just a little preview. We're gonna add a Google Sheets module, and we're going to add the add a row action. Yeah, add a row action. And then I think that's it for this page. So we'll go to the weather app or the make foundations use case. We can either click that this plus, or we can just double click near it. And here's the Google Sheets, add a row, and that's it. Connecting your Google account to Make. The first step that you should do is click add next to the connection. Name your connection Make Academy and click save. As you're already signed into Google, the only action here is to allow Make access. This will allow Make to access Google Sheets. You will see why this is important on the next step. So now we have to connect our Google Sheets account and name it Make Academy. So I'm just gonna do that. Create a connection. The name is going to be Make Academy. And then we're gonna click sign in with Google. And once you sign in and verify everything, it'll look like this. Connection name. We're gonna leave these the same, and we can click save. Okay, just kidding, we can't click save yet. We have to add a sheet, and I think it should populate already. No, it's not letting me save, so let me just see what it says. Okay, first items to configure. Now that the connection has been made, you can start to configure the module. Let's stick to the very basic options. Choose a method. Leave this as select by path. Choose a drive. As this is a file within your own Google Drive, leave this option as My Drive. Next, you'll see why we had to create the spreadsheet ahead of creating the module. Selecting your destination sheet. Spreadsheet ID. Click here to choose file. You'll notice that the contents of your Google Drive will load. Okay, I see it should have loaded. Maybe it didn't save. Mixed foundations use case. I connected these together. Let me just refresh. Oh, I actually might have just messed up here. All right, so it populated now. I had to re-add this Google Sheets doc because when I first connected my Google Docs Sheets account, I didn't actually allow the permissions that they asked. There's 2 permissions that you have to allow once you connect your account, and then once you do that, then it should populate here. That's what I was trying to do just a second ago. But once you have it populated in the spreadsheet ID, your Make Foundation use case spreadsheet, then you're all caught up. So you can't actually save it without the sheet name yet. So I'm just gonna see what it says. It wants us to name this. Sheet name will then appear. By default, you will only have one sheet set up. Select sheet 1. So sheet 1, oh, okay. Yeah, you can just click the drop down menu and click sheet 1, and then these values should populate. Should be able to save it now. Okay, cool. After that, you can actually save it. You will notice that more options will appear now below sheet name. Leave these alone as they are for your next module. For the moment, click OK to finish. And don't forget to save. Once you have successfully configured this task. Great job, click next. All right, so I'm just gonna save it. A final note on connections and authorizations. You may need to reauthorize connections after a certain period of time. For example, a free regular Gmail account will need to be reauthorized every 7 days, whilst a Gmail business account does not need to be reauthorized. If you change the password on any of your linked accounts, you will also need to reauthorize. This can be done from the connections option in the menu. So connections option in the menu, connections. This is where you would reauthorize your Google if you needed to. Clicking reauthorize will reset the connections and allow your scenario to function as intended. End of the unit. Cool. Now we're gonna move on to unit 5. All right, so unit 5. Connecting modules. Welcome to the 5th unit of the Setting Up My First Scenario course within the Make Foundation. You are now way past the halfway point of the first course and quickly starting to approach running your scenario for the first time. Before you get there, you have a few more bits to learn. The aim of this unit is to connect modules together and understand why. As we have done previously, ensure that you have your Make Foundation's use case scenario open. If you have not, we have it open. Next, connecting/disconnecting modules. Reviewing your scenario. In the previous unit, we added and configured the Google Sheets Add a Row module. Your scenario should look like the image, 2 modules connected to each other. The next step is to disconnect them. Disconnecting a module. Right-click the dotted line connecting the 2 modules and select Unlink. This will disconnect the 2 modules from each other. So you can just right-click and unlink them like that, and relink them like that. Module warnings. You will now have 2 standalone modules. Your Google Sheets will present a warning in a yellow circle. Select the yellow alert. It will give you the details of the warning or error your module has encountered. Your Google Sheets module has an action of add a row, but there is no source of where that information is coming from. Therefore, Make will provide you with the warning prompt. This concludes this exercise. So it's just saying that when you have a disconnection or any kind of error in your module, it will show up like this, a little yellow, and it says the module is not connected to the data flow, or else say whatever the problem is. Different ways to connect modules. Method 1. Your first method is to add the module linked directly from the first module. For example, if we hover over the weather module and then select add another module, the next module that we select will be automatically connected. So this is just saying one of the methods is to just click this little plus symbol. When you hover over it, see it shows a little plus symbol. Method 2. If you have not automatically connected a module, you can drag the connector on a module to the one that you would like to connect it to. You can do this from the starting module or any additional module. So I'm gonna click this. Like I showed you before, you can drag either side into the module. Method 3. Another option is to drag your module toward the module you would like to connect to. This will automatically connect it. If you accidentally connected the wrong module and you are still holding down your mouse, dragging the module away will disconnect it. However, once you let go of your mouse, you will need to right-click Unlink if you want to disconnect the module. So it's saying here that you can also reconnect your module just by dragging it closer to it. So when I drag it closer, you see the dots connect, and if I let go and try to drag again, it's gonna stay connected. But if it's far away and you bring it closer and say you didn't really want it to be on this one, if you pull it away far enough, it'll go away from it, right? As long as you're holding down your mouse, it'll disconnect and connect again. Why do we connect modules? To put it simply, you are passing information from one module to another. From the weather app, you are sending data about the weather from a city, first module, to a spreadsheet, second module. Without connecting these modules, the information doesn't go anywhere from the weather app, and the spreadsheet has nothing to receive. Think of it as a taxi transporting passengers to their destination. If you select the Explain Flow icon under Controls, it will illustrate the journey of the data. So this is what I was talking about last video. If you don't see the plane, it's because it's in these more dots. If you click Explain Flow, it'll show the dot bouncing. It'll show the dot bouncing with the information. So it went from this one to this one. If there was no link and I click Explain Flow, nothing happens because there's no flow. But if I connect them, Explain Flow starts here, information goes there. And that will help a lot once you have more complex scenarios, so you can see the path the information is taking. Have a go. Spend a few minutes now exploring the different ways that we can connect modules together. Tip: a handy function within Make is the use of clone, or copy and paste function. You can do this by right-clicking your chosen module and selecting one of the options. You can also hold Shift and drag your mouse to select multiple modules at once. This is a useful tool to know about, as it will copy the existing configurations of the module. Copy the modules and link them together in a straight line as shown below. Don't save this, we're just exploring the function. Click Next when you are done. So it wants us to copy and paste so we can see how this works. So we can right click this and just clone the module, right? And you can see it's already connected. Or what you can do is you can press Shift and highlight more than one module, right click and copy it as well. And then once you go over here to press paste, it'll paste another 2 modules, or however many you highlighted. And then also if I go over here again and click explain flow, you can see that it'll just hop from all of the different modules in order, right? So it doesn't want us to save this. I'm gonna Shift, highlight these last 3 and just press back to delete them. And if you can see here, if I go and click the align, auto align, it'll just make it in the center of the screen. So we're gonna click next, and that's the end of the unit. See, we're powering through this. Now we're on the last unit already. I'm just gonna go straight into it, all right? Welcome to the 6th and final unit of the Setting Up My First Scenario course. In this unit, you are going to start bringing everything together and explore mapping items. The aim of this unit is to map items from one module to another. As in previous modules, ensure that you have your Make Foundations use case open. Yep, all right, so we have that open. Click next. What is mapping? To keep this question relevant to what we have built in your scenario so far, mapping involves generating items of information from one module and telling Make where you want the information to appear in the next module. For example, in the weather app, you want to take the description of the weather. You would like this item of information to appear within the first row on your spreadsheet. In order to do this, you need to map the data from the first module, source, into the second one, destination. This is the equivalent of a map that plots a journey with a destination at the end of it. Knowing what we can map. Task 1, generating a bundle / consume an operation. We're going to split this task into 2 halves. Make sure that you follow this task at your own pace. The first part is identifying the items that you can map. On the weather app, right click and click Run this module only. As this is your source module, it will generate a bundle of information for you. So we're going to go to the scenario, right click the weather app and click Run this module only. That's all it tells us to do. Generating a bundle and an operation. When you have clicked Run this module once, there are 2 things to review here. A thought bubble will appear next to weather, containing a 1. This means that you have consumed a single operation. You have generated at least 1 bundle. Click the plus, and you will be able to see the bundle and the items it contains. So I'm gonna click this plus button, and this is what it looks like when you click this number 1. You'll have the operation, the input, and the output. What's in the bundle? There are 2 sets of information here. Number 1, your input bundle might look familiar. It shows the configurations you entered into the weather module, such as the city name. Number 2, this shows your output bundle. Every item here can be mapped in the next module. Note that some items contain a plus. This is known as a collection or array, and it means that there are multiple items that can be mapped here. You will learn more about collections and arrays later on. Click the plus next to coordinates / wind to see what other items you are able to map. So we can go into our bundle here, and you can see that we have the first bundle. The input will show the city, and the output will show the information that we collected. And it says we can actually see that these are collections. So if I click on coordinates, coordinates is a collection, and it has 2 items that we can map. And then wind is also a collection that has 2 items that we can map. And click next. Mapping items into our target module. Where to map your items. You now know from the previous page which items you can map from the weather module. Now let's look at where you are going to map them to in your target module. Note, it would be useful if you opened the Make Foundation Scenario Google Sheet that you created earlier for this exercise. Ensure that you have selected your Make Foundations use case from the Google Sheets module. Within Make, open the module Google Sheets Add a Row. This will load the configuration page. So it just wants us to open up this Google Sheets configuration page again that we had from the second module, which is this. Where to map your items. Scroll down on the configuration panel to values. You will see several fields that say A, B, C, etc. These correspond with the columns in your Google Sheet. Click plus in the field labeled A. You will be greeted with the fields that you can map. Does this look familiar? It should. These are the items from your bundle. This is real data that you have generated. You can select one or many of the items here and it will process that information into row A on your Google Sheet. So I'm gonna click the plus. When you select any of these items, they will be mapped to the chosen field. You can select an item by either clicking on it or dragging and dropping it. So when you click inside the values, like say if I were to click inside A, it would populate all of these different items that I can map inside of the Google Sheets that we created. So this Google Sheet here, right now it is empty, but if we were to go into our scenario and go in here and put one of these items that we generated from this weather app into the A column of this Google Sheets module, it would populate in the Google Sheets. Mapping items. To complete this exercise, you are going to map 4 different items to your Google Sheet. For column A, select sunrise. For column B, select temperature. For column C, select status. For column D, select description. Click OK and then save your scenario. So we're just going to add 4 values in this module, A through D, and it's going to just be sunrise, temperature, status, and description. So I'm going to go into our scenario, into our values in the Google Sheets. We're going to add sunrise, temperature. You can either click it or you can drag it. Status and description. Just like that. Save it, save the scenario. Now we're back on here, click next. Viewing the source of your items. Before you continue, a quick note on the source of your items. Reopen the configuration for the module Google Sheets Add a Row and hover over any of the items in your bundle on row A. Do you see what is happening with the weather app? It will start to pulsate. This is an incredibly useful visual reminder for when you start to build other modules later. It shows where the source of your mapped item is coming from, which will be especially useful when you start to build more complex scenarios with more modules and different sources of data. So it's trying to point out here that when you hover over the item that you're trying to map into any module, that the source of that data or item, where it came from, where you're getting it from, the module of that source will start pulsating like this, so you know exactly where it's coming from. Running your scenario for the first time. The next course will cover running your scenario in more depth. However, you're ready to run your first automation now. It would be beneficial to have your Google Sheet open in another tab to see what happens. Click the Run Once button and look at your Google Sheet. You will see that it now has content. This is what you have mapped from the weather app. Congratulations, you have just run your first scenario. So we're gonna go here. Everything's all set up to run our first scenario. So I'm just going to click Run Once. And you can see that we have 2 operations that have taken place, one in the weather app and one in the Google Sheets app. And if we go back into our Make Foundations use case, you can see that all of the information that we had just mapped in our Google Sheets app is now populated in the created spreadsheet. So just by connecting our scenario to our Google Sheet, we have created a scenario that will take the weather from your current city and get the sunrise, the temperature, the status, and the description, and put it in a Google Sheet for us, just like that. And that is the end of the unit. So that is the end of the first course. That's literally all of the content in it. The only thing we have left to do is to take this assessment. So we can mark this as complete. And now we're on the assessment page. It has 10 questions, and it's only pertaining to what we covered in this course. So I'm just gonna go through this really quickly because these questions are usually pretty easy. So you can follow along and you can try to get a better score than me. So I'm gonna just click mark this task as complete. All right, question 1. We define an automation as A, a software that automatically identifies efficiencies and corrects them. B, replacing a set of manual steps with a series of actions that will perform it for you. C, migrating multiple systems into one single place. I think it's B, replacing a set of manual steps with a series of actions that will perform it for you. Awesome. Which of the following tasks can an action module perform? Choose all answers that apply. Get information, add a row to a spreadsheet, delete a sheet. So all of the answers that apply, an action module can get information, it can add a row, and I think it can also delete a sheet. Awesome, we got all 3. Why is the run this module only function helpful? Choose all answers that apply. A, it will allow you to test your scenario without consuming operations. B, it will display the items / bundle generated from the module. Or C, it will execute the entire scenario. So it says choose all that apply. I think it's these 2. Why would it say choose all that apply? Okay, so run this module only will display the items / bundle generated from the module. And it will not allow you to test your scenario without consuming an operation. It will also consume an operation. Okay. What happens when you select run once in your scenario? Choose all that apply. A, no operations will be consumed. B, the scenario will be executed. C, one or multiple operations will be consumed. Run once will run everything that's connected. So a scenario will be executed and one or multiple operations will be consumed. Let's go. What are the 2 types of triggers? I remember this one. It is polling and instant triggers. Let's go. What are the various ways that you can add modules to your scenario? Choose all answers that apply. A, selecting the plus icon within the scenario builder. B, double click within the scenario builder. Or C, right click on any white space and add module. Okay, yeah, I think you can do all 3 of these. Sweet. Last 3 questions. On the scenario editor, which of the following tools can you find? Choose all that apply. I think you can find tools and flow control. Oh, you can find text parser too. All right. From the list below, which statement describes a bundle? A, a collection of data known as an item, or B, a collection of modules known as a scenario. I'm gonna go with A. All right, last question. No, 2 questions, sorry. Is the following statement true or false? Connecting modules is crucial as it passes information from one module to another. That's so true. Easy. Which of the following describes mapping? Choose only one. Okay. A, taking items / data and inserting into a different module. B, taking items / data and combining them into a single packet of information. Or C, extracting items and data and distributing them back to the source module. I would say it would be A, taking items and inserting them into a different module. Boom. Let's go. All right, so that's all the questions. I got 80%. I guess let me know if you did better than me. I thought I would do a little bit better than this, I'm not gonna lie. So now I know that the run module run this module only button will consume an operation, and also that you can find text parsers in the scenario editor. So that's it for this quiz. I'm gonna mark this task as complete, and now we have completed the entire course. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. You did great. I'm so proud of you. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the dashboard and look, 100% complete. Let's go. Now we can move on to the next course, which if I go to courses, all courses, go back to foundations, you can see the next course is expanding my first scenario. So next video, I'll be going into this other course here, which has 6 lessons. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, good job. Hopefully by now you have a better understanding of how to navigate the platform, and you don't have to look up what every feature does. But now that we know how to work our way around the website, we can start using what we learned to build working scenarios. In the next video, we'll be going into the second course within the foundation section of Make Academy. But until then, if you found any of this interesting, please feel free to drop a like, comment your thoughts, and hit that subscribe button. That's gonna be it for me. I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.